You've actually gotten, what, 2 bonuses now?
Yeah.
And you got a bonus in the Gurgel fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do with a bonus that size? Because you guys obviously, I think you got 60 grand for that one?
Right.
You're not making 60 grand for the fight outright, with the show and win. So what do you do when you get that much money?
You live off of it for 9 months when you have a layoff, like I did.
Okay. Is that what you did? You basically did you go out and buy anything? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I bought a car, and then I had to have knee surgery, so it's like I had to put the rest for just like making it over the past 9 months.
Yeah. Did you? How do you pay for the knee surgery?
UFC took care of it.
Okay, so
it happened in the fight.
Okay. What kind of car did you
buy? Just a Honda Accord, 2009 Honda Accord. So it's nice.
Not going beyond your means, huh?
Right. Trying to stay, mid-level.
Did you, when you first got the money and then you were thinking about buying a car, did you actually go out and look at stuff that was a lot nicer or not?
No, not really. I mean, I just wanted something middle class, something pretty nice, and something that just kind of fit me. So I just went with the Accord,
Not even a little bit.
4 doors,
Look at this guy.
I would love to have, a badass Audi or a M3 or something like that, but it's not really within my means.
All right. It sounds like a lot of money, and it sounds like you're safe. But then, like you said, when if you're out of work for a while with an injury, then you're kind of screwed in that case. So, how important are these bonuses for, especially the kind of the mid-level and lower-level guys?
Yeah, for the mid-level and the lower-level guys, who aren't making a lot of money for their purses, the bonuses are very important, and it's a really good incentive for them to go out there and just fight their heart out.
How big is it to get to an elite gym like that in terms of the competition? Because we've heard from many guys, when they're working locally, maybe they kind of tap out the crew there, and there just isn't anything gained.
Yeah, that's how I was before, when I was living in Macon. Just kind of went as far as I could go. So I wanted to come to American Top Team, and I still have a long way to go, over there. It's the amount of talent and, the technical prowess of all the instructors is just ridiculous. So I still got a long way to go over there, and I'm going to be there for quite some time.
So give us some names in terms of technical prowess, the guys who you start rolling with, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, you got Marcus Aurelio. I train a lot with Jay-Z Cavalcanti, and then I train a lot with Mike Brown. Eves Edwards. My brother Micah Miller. These are just lightweight guys. We have a whole team of welterweights and featherweights and bantamweights. Just got a big squad. We got a team of 40+ pro fighters.
Yeah. So you mentioned Mike Brown, not a lightweight, used to be a lightweight. Now he's fighting 45, which is pretty imposing for that division. So what's it like, because he's a shorter guy, he's probably 5'6", 5'7". Yeah. What's it like rolling with him, a wrestler, and he's real, stocky, strong guy, and he's a weight class below you?
It's he's a weight class below me, but I think he weighs more than I do, but it's not really a lot of fun. You just get beat up a lot.
He's not that he's come from out of nowhere, but I think for the casual fan he kind of has, and Uriah Faber was on such a roll there that I think a lot of people were surprised by Mike. I don't know, watching the fight against Garcia, I'm starting to think more and more that because of the size and the experience and the technical ability, he may not lose anytime soon at 145.
Yeah, we've been saying this for a long time. When I came to ATT in January of 2006, and then I was only there for a few months, and then I was telling everybody, Mike Brown could be anybody in the world at 145, anybody, and he's a guy that's paid his dues. It's like he made it to the UFC years and years ago and fought Genki Sudo and lost, and that's the kind of guy he could just said, well, I made it to the UFC, and could have stopped right there, but he's paid his dues. He's been training for forever, fought Eminari, got his knee torn, and still stuck with it, still stuck with it. Now he's the champion, very deserving to be the champion.
So if you were going to fight him, a shorter guy, generally you're going to be the taller guy at 155. Tell me what your approach is, because we know you're good on the ground. Do you want to be on the feet? Do you want to be on the ground against the shorter guys?
For me, it doesn't really matter. I just would rather not spend too much time in the clinch. As far as the wrestling clinch, as not the Muay Thai clinch, but I like to be on the feet, because I got the reach. But most guys will try to take me down, and if they take me down, I'm comfortable there.
Right. I read an interesting philosophy, and I hadn't really thought about this, that you threw out there, that standing, even though you have the length, and maybe with kicks and with the Thai clinch and with the jab, you could score, keep a guy at a distance. But you were thinking that the shorter guy actually has an advantage from a judge's standpoint? I never thought of it before.
Yeah, because they're always going to look at the guy that. You try to watch a fight, pretty unbiased. But I mean, as soon as somebody starts making noise or they start doing something that looks flashy, and like the shorter guys, they're more ripped and stuff like that. That's going to draw attention to it. I think that the taller guys have to work harder to get the judges to, look at them. Because they're always going to be looking at the guys who are getting the takedowns and who are, ripped and, who are really explosive. That's just what MMA is today. So I think that, the taller, lankier fighters have to work harder.
You brought up the perfect fight, and that was the Nick Diaz-Shirk fight. And I think most people have forgotten about that fight. And I remember sitting cage side, and I'm scoring it, and I'm like, well, that was a hell of a fight. I thought Diaz did a great job. His sprawl was unbelievable. Yeah. He went down a couple of times. I thought easily a split decision, maybe Diaz takes it, and then I think it was 30-27 across the board. Yeah. Sean Shirk won, and I was mystified. I had no idea what the judges had seen.
Yeah, it's like, you throw a bunch of punches and you miss all of them, but you go, and it's like the judges start looking at you, and he shot a lot of takedowns, but he didn't get any. And if he did get a takedown on Nick, he didn't do anything with it.
No. And Nick got right up.
And Nick was the one scoring all the punches, doing all the submission attempts. He was the one really shooting for damage and trying to finish the fight. But I mean, that's just the way it goes in like a 10-9 round scoring system.
Interesting. All right, let's get to this fight. I know you've answered a lot of questions, done a lot of interviews on Junie Browning. So what do you think of him technically?
Nothing.
No?
I don't think he's technical at all.
And what are you basing it on?
Past fights that I've seen.
Yeah. You just haven't seen anything on the feet, on the ground. He says that he's pretty good on the ground, but you're not seeing it.
No, I mean, he's good on the ground compared to what? Compared to what? Who has he ever tapped out that was any good? Whose guard has he ever passed that was any good? I mean, if you want to talk about jiu-jitsu, I don't think that. I mean, he's never beat anybody with any sort of credentials, so I don't think that he's good on the ground. And on the feet, I'm sure he hits hard, and he can swing wildly, but I mean, I don't think he has any knockouts either. It's like people talk about how he's a brawler. Well, who has he knocked out?
Well, the one fight we've seen was David Kaplan, and I think Kaplan's got some flaws as well. It kind of leaves himself out there to get hit.
Yeah, he tapped that guy out with an armbar, but I thought that guy was horrible too.
Yeah. All right, so clearly not impressed with Junie Browning. How about his camp? I mean, obviously your camp is unreal with the jiu-jitsu practitioners. Do you see in their camp, the kind of experience that's going to get him ready for a guy who's at your level in terms of submissions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that him training with Extreme Couture, they got a lot of good guys there in every facet. Good striking coaches, obviously great wrestlers, and he also has they got good jiu-jitsu coaches there too, and he's got training partners. That's the important thing. He has other lightweight fighters that are fighting in the UFC today to train with. So I think that he definitely does have that's an advantage that he has to help get ready for me, but just not right now. I mean that might benefit him a year from now, but I mean I don't think it's going to do him any good in the few months that he's been training there.
So what was your reaction when they threw Junie Browning your way?
I just called up, my manager, and we talked about it, and I thought it was a great fight to come back from knee surgery. I think it's a step down from George Gurgel. I think that he is a great, well-rounded fighter. A guy that is really good at kickboxing, and obviously a black belt on the ground. That is a quality opponent. No, this guy, he's like, he might be the new age, or he might just be all hype. We'll have to see.
Yeah. So you think he may be the worst guy you've fought so far in UFC?
Technically, yeah. Technically, he's the worst guy I fought. He might be a great fighter. We'll find out because a lot of guys are, scrappier. They got a lot of power. It's just in them to fight.
Right.
And really, that's what MMA is all about. Can you be the better fighter on that day? But as far as a martial artist, I think that's the best way for me to put it. I think that he's the worst martial artist that I've fought in the UFC.
So worse than Berube, worse than Wang?
I think that he's worse than Wang. Wang's a black belt,
Yeah.
And a very good martial artist. Has good wrestling also. Although you didn't get to see much of it, but I got to see it in the gym.
All right. So obviously the goal here again, another fight night bonus, and hopefully a submission bonus or something. Maybe two of them.
Yeah, I would. I have not got a fight of the night bonus yet, and I don't want to get one. I'm going to stick with the knockouts and the submissions.